Hi, I'm Carl Stava, Domino Connection. I have Irina Baranov today with us. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So you're an expert in relationships in the fact that, you help people get to the next level in their business.
Mm.
So tell us a little bit how you got started in that.
Well, the long version is I probably got started when I was 5 years old, and I was on the playground in the corner talking to people about their friendships and teacher dramas while everybody else was playing hopscotch and football and all those fun things. So that's long term. Short term is I've had 20 years of progressive business management marketing experience, and a couple of years ago, I took a little detour and got certified in coaching. So I became a life coach and I became an executive coach. And now my biggest passion is helping people up-level their personal and professional lives. And often that's through relationship. Often the business growth comes through relationships. The personal growth comes through tighter relationships.
Okay. So what is the one thing that you found that that people have difficulty connecting with other people and building their network?
Mm. You talk about this in your work with the domino effect as
Mm-hmm.
well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So connection is so vital, and yet we figured out in 2014 how not to do it well. My opinion is we've over engineered it, we've overthought it, we've put so much structure and functionality around connection that it no longer feels authentic. It no longer feels fun. And that's really the problem. The problem is that people have lost their way. They've with good intentions, they've become so focused on collecting business cards. They've become so focused on widening their network that they've lost sight of really what it takes to develop friendships, to like somebody, to be authentic, to have, to show their good, bad, ugly parts and have somebody else really know them and vice versa to know somebody else.
So how do you make it fun? You're trying to accomplish a goal, and that's meet people who want to hire you or want to buy
Mm.
from you. And you put a little stress on yourself. So how do you lessen that stress, and how do you make it more fun?
Mm. I remind myself that when I do put the stress on myself, when I do think in terms of sales, when I do think in terms of networking, that it flops. It fails every single time. As opposed to when I'm focusing on being me, being of service, being curious, connecting with people like you. You and I have no business connection, right? I'm not trying to sell you anything. You're not trying to sell me anything. But I bet after this interview, we'll get to know each other a little bit better. And 2 days from now or 2 weeks from now, I'll say, oh, that's a great client for Carl. And I'll give you that referral.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to go about it.
I like that. So, when you first meet somebody, what are some of the best ways to start a conversation and really build a connection that isn't revolved around business, but just getting to know the person?
Well, honestly, Carl, for some people, it's easier than for others. So, if you're a natural extrovert, you're going to work the room and you're going to, pull in all kinds of interesting tidbits and you have stories ready to share. And I watch people like that with a little bit of envy because that's just not me. I'm a natural introvert. So for me, the connection comes again. That I picture myself as a 5 year old on the schoolyard. It's in a corner, it's at a table, it's one on one, it's over coffee, and it's really just talking about life. It can start with how'd you find out about this event? It can start with tell me a little bit about the struggles you're facing in your business or in your personal life, and then the conversation just evolves.
Mm-hmm. So, we're kind of leading to that next question of mine is, what's your personality type? And
Mm,
because you said you were an introvert.
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that and how you connect with people, to make it easier for yourself and not so overwhelming.
Sure, sure. So the word personality is a bit of a challenge for me. I have these two halves of me. One is the former psychology major who, when I hear personality, I think of persona and Freud and Jung and all the personal development stuff. The other part is the business part of me. When I hear personality, I think, okay, brand. What's my personal brand? So I can answer it from kind of two perspectives, or maybe try to meld them into one. But personality typically is very surface. It's, oh, she has a bubbly personality. Oh, he's very serious. Well, those are parts, right? Those are parts, and those can be part of our brand or part of what we put out into the world. But kind of the more meaty, the anchor parts of us are, who are you authentically? Who are you? So I'm a seeker. I am somebody who's been curious from a very young age, curious about business, curious about personal development, curious about spirituality. So my personality and my brand is one of deep curiosity, one of deep connection, one of love. For, that sounds cheesy, but if you ask anybody who knows me, from my clients to my husband, my kids, my friends, I love. I love with a capital L. So that's my brand. That's my personality, for lack of a better term. It's about leading with heart. It's about being authentic and getting away from the business buzzwords and networking and things like that.
So how does personality fit in the brand for you? Do you try to meld them together?
I don't know how not to. Yeah, I think if you don't meld them together, that's a recipe for misery. And I've seen entrepreneurs do this, and I've seen business leaders do this. So somebody who is naturally quiet and thoughtful, hiring all kinds of coaches and experts and trainers to make them be charismatic and outgoing. And they get up on stage, and it's like, oh, and you've seen that person. You cringe because you know that they're trying so hard, and you want to root for them, but it's like, oh, buddy, like scale it back. Like, you are not Tony Robbins. Like, just be you, do you, and you'll be so much better off. So yeah, when I speak, if I'm speaking on stage, if I'm on TV, if I'm one-on-one with a client, you're going to see the same person. You're not going to see a heightened version of me or a more diminished version. Like, this is who I am.
Okay. So, how do you be okay with that? How do you make sure that you don't feel like you need to be something you're not?
That's a great question. That's probably the crux of what most people need to work on, because we've gotten from birth so many messages about what's the right way to be. So I'm 5'1". That's not the right way to be. The right way to be is to be 5'6". There's nothing I can do about that. Well, I can put on some heels, but you are who you are. I have green eyes. If the right way to be is to have blue eyes, there's nothing I can do about that. So the more that we can get that, our persona, our brand, our way of doing business, our way of connecting with people is just like our height. It's just like our eye color. The better we're going to be at it, because we're not trying so hard to be somebody that we're not. And the easier and happier our life and business is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd like to add to that, and it's a process, right? Like, it's like an onion. We got to peel these layers off and try different things and see what fits. Sometimes we do grow, right? We do add stuff to ourselves, but the core of who we are is we can never go too far away from it, because then it feels awkward.
Exactly. And the people who I have seen go, I don't know if too far, the people who I've seen go far and kind of, I work with clients one-on-one, and I do see growth and I do see huge progression. But the ones that have gone far from where they started, I would say that kernel was there all along. It just needed a little heat to pop, but that corn kernel was there. It wasn't a piece of barley. It was always a corn kernel, and with the right temperature, it became what it needed to be.
Yeah. So, as you've been able to help people build relationships and you've built relationships yourself, what do you think is the secret to really connecting with somebody?
Hmm. So I guess I think of this in terms of a networking versus connecting,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that I play with this concept with my own clients and when I'm speaking on stage is I ask people to think of the last painful networking experience they had. So I say, think of the last time you handed somebody a business card and it didn't go well. They didn't return your call or the relationship felt kind of cold and awkward. We've all had that, right? I just had that 2 weeks ago. We've all had that experience and you kind of go, oh, ouch, that was a little painful. That was a little cold. That didn't feel good. That's how I think of networking. It's that ouch business card experience. Conversely, if I ask you to think about the day that you met your best friend,
Yeah.
yeah, you see how your face just
Mm-hmm.
softens and
Mm-hmm.
the memories come flooding back, or the day that you met your wife.
Mm-hmm.
You instantly go, oh, yeah, like there was this connection, and from the moment we met, I knew that this person was somebody special and was going to be in my life for a long time.
Yeah.
That's connection, right? And I would say that the same goes for business. There will be people you meet who you instantly will resonate with. You will have things in common. You'll be curious about them. They'll be curious about you. It will feel easy. It will feel fun.
Mm-hmm.
And the story that we tell ourselves is, well, there's not enough of those people, or, well, no, I need to work the room. And if I go to a conference that has 300 people, I must walk out with at least 30 business cards, or, whatever metric and quota
Mm-hmm.
we put in our mind. And I would say, no, wrong. If you go to a conference of 300 people and you make a connection with one or two, those one or two will be better for your business and for your personal life than the 30 cold, ouch business card experiences. So forget it. Forget about networking and just worry about connecting. Be curious about people. Let them be curious about you. Resonate with who you resonate with, and don't worry about the rest. Just don't.
Yeah. And I look back, when I first started my business, and that's you go to a conference and you feel like you just need to meet as many people as
Yeah.
possible, and at some point it is a numbers game, right? Like if you meet one person and you don't really connect with them, and it's kind of like half of a connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then you're afraid to go out and say, well, let's see who else is here,
Yeah.
because you feel like you have this kind of a connection.
Yep.
That's not good either. So it needs, like that balance of like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you can't do 30, right? You can't really connect with 30 people in
Yeah.
2 days.
Sure.
But you could do, like you could do 7, you could do 8. And
Hmm.
it's that pushing forward a little bit and saying, okay, well, let's bring other people. What I've found that works well is introducing other people to each
Hmm.
other,
Oh, I like
and
that.
and then also inviting people into the group.
Yeah.
So you feel like you're more a part of everything, and
Mm.
that brings people together, and you're one of
Yeah.
those people that brought everybody together.
Yeah, and you're bringing up an interesting point. There's a point to be made here about generosity, right? So if you're only interested in your own network, building your network and the numbers game and how many people do I need to connect with and have business cards at the end of the conference, you're just worried about you. If you're being generous, if you're coming from a heart-centered, soul-centered place, you are going to bring others into the conversation. You are going to introduce, hey, Carl, I just met Joe. I think you and he have something great to talk about. So that's not just me doing something for me. That's me being generous and introducing you. And all of a sudden, the three of us have a connection. So I love that. That's a great model.
Yeah, and it doesn't always work, but it's just a part of testing yourself and
Mm.
trying different things. Like some people are good at owning the room and really, kind of being those extroverts that just want to hop around and talk
Mm-hmm.
to people. And then there's the introverts that let people come to them, and I like to try to be in the middle of that and like, try to get introverts into the group because some of the
I'm going to hang
best.
out with you at the next conference.
Yeah, and I don't always do it well. You know what I mean? Like I'll make mistakes or I'll say somebody's name wrong because I'm terrible with names. But you just try to laugh about it, right?
Yeah,
You
sure.
just like look, make a joke about yourself and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." But it's kind of just saying, "Hey, I got to put myself out there and try
Mm-hmm.
to have other people have a good time." And that's
Mm,
what I think it is for me. Is like making other people have a good time. They remember you for that
yeah.
incident or that
Yep.
reason. Yeah,
Yep. For
yeah.
sure. And here's just a second of free coaching for you. If and I catch my clients doing this all the time. Whenever I hear the words I gotta put myself out there, I say, unless you can convince me that you want to, don't do it.
Yeah,
So if you change that, say, I want to put myself out there, and then I
just the
would say,
phrasing.
why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to put yourself out there? And then you would give me 10. Well, let's play with it right now. Give me 5 reasons why you want to put yourself out there.
Um, to make a new friend, to have more fun,
Mm-hmm.
to see what happens from the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
um, to meet someone that I might be able to help,
Mm-hmm.
and then the last one would probably um, just to understand a little bit more about myself as I interact with somebody.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So just give me 5 reasons for why you want to do it. Does it still feel like I got to put myself out there?
No,
Yeah.
no, and I guess it doesn't feel like that even when I'm doing it.
Yep.
But yeah, I do use that phrase. Or what I've noticed too is I say I need.
Mm-hmm.
I need
Mm-hmm.
to do this. When in
Yeah.
reality, I'm like I need to set up for this interview.
Yeah.
No, I want to set up for the interview.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to watch our words. We have to catch ourselves because our words create our world inside of our heads.
Yeah.
And as you and I are both parents, as parents, guess what? Our words create the world that our kids see as well. So when we say things like, oh, I have to go to work,
Yeah.
we're planting a seed.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, I'm so excited to do this interview with Carl today. Mommy's getting ready for work. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
a very different message.
yeah. It's true. Yeah, and it's funny. You look back at how your parents viewed life,
Mm,
and how you try to adjust to that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
because I know they were so focused. My dad owned his own business, and at what point do you actually enjoy what you do in the process of it?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you make a very good point there. So
Mm.
this is a good leading to what is the secret to happiness for you?
Oh, I love that question. The secret to happiness. So the happiness question comes up a lot in my work. So a lot of times people look for a coach because they've just lost it. They've lost their juice for their business, for life, for their relationships, and um, they call me and they say, I just want to be happy again. Yes, I want to be successful and I want to scale up my business and I want to be a better husband and dad, but gosh, I just want to be happy again. And what I say to that is happiness is a byproduct. It's not a goal.
Yeah.
So think about that for a second. Most of us make it a goal. You know, we call a therapist, we call a coach, we call the bartender. We say, my goal is to be happy. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I think happiness is a byproduct. It's a byproduct of living your values. It's a byproduct of being of service. It's a byproduct of being with people that you truly connect with, not that you're networking with.
Mm-hmm.
It's a byproduct of doing work that you love, that you're perfectly suited to do. It's a byproduct of all these things. So once I start kind of peeling apart and teasing that apart of, are you living your values? Are you in relationships that are good for you? Are you doing work that you love? Are you being of service? Usually the person who comes in and says, my goal is to be happier, the answer to many of those questions is, well, gosh, no, no. No, I'm not doing work I love. No, I'm not being of service. No, well, of course, the byproduct of that is less than happy. So let's turn around some of the things that you're doing or not doing in your life And let's see if happiness becomes the byproduct of that. And oftentimes it does.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Because really what it comes down to is a connection outside of ourselves. It could be, like you said, in service, connection to other people, connection to a higher power, connection to nature, whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you feel like you're a part of something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I like that. Okay, so as we wind this down, I always ask this question, and one of the key things I found that people who are successful and who are happy, there's usually one point, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, but something recent that has helped you kind of turn visitors, customers into fans. What is that one thing you think that has really worked well for you?
It's a little ironic, but it's what comes to mind. What helps turn clients or visitors into fans is the word no. Is being so honest and so committed to being of service that I'm able to say, no, I won't work with you. No, I won't take your money. And here's who could serve you better. Go call Carl. Go call Carrie. Go call Mary, because they are so much better able to heal the pain that you're feeling, to fix the problem that you have, to fill the need that you have. And believe it or not, that simple word no, I can't help you, but I will refer you to somebody who can. It makes fans, it makes friends for life, it makes for great referral sources. Yeah.
And do you feel like it's because you have their best interest at heart, and that's the biggest difference?
It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And it's also that hard, because as business owners, our job is to generate an income at the end of the day, right? We have mortgages to pay and families to feed. So that's not like I'm making it sound easy. Oh, just stay in integrity and then say no whenever somebody's not a fit. That's hard. That's not an easy thing to do, but it's a long-term vision versus a short-term vision, right? It's not about can I make $100 today? It's about, can I help this person's life improve today, tomorrow, for the next 10 years, and stay in their orbit and have that connection, not network, and have that connection so that more business will flow my way. It's a tough one. It's tough to take that long-term view. I'm not saying it's easy, but when I've been able to do it, the rewards are just wonderful.
So what does that baby step look like? How do you start saying no? And it might even be just, let me, before, I don't want to answer, let you answer that.
Yeah.
What does that baby step look like? How do you get there?
I actually think it's a big step. I actually think it's, the first time I said no to business, it was hard. I was just starting out. I really needed the income. I really needed the success of, I have X many clients, and it wasn't a baby step. It was a huge step, but it was just staying in integrity. It was just knowing in my mind that if I had said yes, I wouldn't be doing the right thing. Yeah. And it just came down to that. Is this the right thing? And if you can't say yes to that, then you have to say no to the client and give them another place to go.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. This was wonderful.
My pleasure. This was fun.
All right. Oh, before we end, where should they go to see you? I was about to hit the stop button.
Yeah, my website is just my name, irinabaranov.com. It's long, it's Russian, it's IRINABARANOV.com.
Is your background Russian, or is that your husband's?
Both.
Okay, you're both part Russian. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And are your parents from there? Is that the...
I'm from there. Yep.
You were born there?
Yes, I lived in Kiev in the Ukraine till I was 7 years old. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, there was not much of an accent, so you've lost that. Well, thank you so much. This was wonderful.
My pleasure, Carl. Thanks for having me on.
Sure, sure.